created this work because I literally had to. Dancers, stay there. Okay, so where should your A-palm be?
Your head kind of.
Yes, yep. I've been trying to tell y'all. All right, let me see it. Thank you. No pictures. Once we received a faculty email preparing us for the summer dance intensive, I scanned, found my name, and I saw that not only would I be teaching ballet, which I knew about that because my former professor let me know about that, but then I also saw that I would be teaching stretch class, I'd also be teaching point, and I had to choreograph. Yeah, that's how it should feel. And then what's the next step? Just let me see the next thing. And one. Just, okay, pause and look where everybody at. You see? Everybody has to get to that corner, and then then the next thing. Now let's go to the last thing. Pretend you just did Ronda Jam, pas de shot. I had to gather myself because I never ever considered myself a choreographer. Ever. 2. Dream, this your solo. 1, 2, woo! Yes! I was up for the challenge. A combination of prophetic words mixed with the fact that I just felt ready. I set out to create a work completely inspired by the actual genesis of the Dance Theater of Harlem, its founding 5 ballet dancers, specifically Abarca-Mitchell, and his legacy that is still here with all of us. Ballet warm-up because the show is today, and it went very well. A special moment happened in ballet class, and now I'm in my old professor's, what is this called? Office. Okay, let me show y'all something. Take me back, although I was never there. Take me back, beautiful Dance Theater of Harlem. Oh my gosh, and you know what I just realized? My piece this afternoon is in honor of the beginning of Dance Theater of Harlem. I did not plan that. And my heart will beat. All right, can you guys just quiet down just a little bit? Who's the first person? Before I'd been introduced to the idea of teaching at this summer intensive, I had gone to Barnes & Noble's, and I was walking past the dance section, just always seeing, you know, what's in that art little corner there. And I happened upon the Swans of Harlem, and I was like, oh wait, I think that's the book Miss Lydia mentioned a couple of times in the studio. So I grabbed it, I started to read it, and once I got like into the book, I became super inspired. Y'all should have came out sooner than that, because I don't want y'all to run like y'all going to the bus stop. Yeah, and the music is supposed to go off. I'm gonna see if they stay and they listen to my corrections and start to black out. Black out slow. I actually like that ending better than what I put on my cue sheet. There were things in the book that caused me to pause, that caused me to sat it down for a few minutes as I searched Google, as I searched YouTube, and just went to make the correlation between what each dancer, because the book is written sort of from their narration in certain chapters. So I wanted to match what they were saying to the things that I would find. And I did find those things like interviews, movie sets, things of that nature, different works. And reading the book on top of finding those gems on the internet just inspired me to no end. But then when I knew I'd be teaching and when I knew I had to choreograph, it was just an effortless culmination of inspiration. You've already inundated yourself with all things Dance State of Harlem. And then, you know what? These women need to be talked about. Yes. Yes. To be celebrated. More people need to know about these women who are now known as the Swans of Harlem. A couple of weeks before I had to actually fly out, honestly, it was a couple of months before, I had already had music and I had already started just moving around in the living room to the music. The music was also inspired by the early days of Dance Theater of Harlem. So it just all just came together in such a divine way. And I don't know, I guess I never foresaw the work coming together in a way that I could look back at it and just really be proud of it. But once I did have those moments, I was like, you know what? I need to document this. This must go down in history as well. Fifth and T, beat, bum, 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 yum, bum, 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 yum. 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Bum, 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 bum. You gotta play it. I'll take when it starts fading to black. That's where the fade is at. Yep, a little quicker than that. Yeah. Turn it to black because they're not gonna move. They're professional. So. Before reading The Swans of Harlem, I'd only known of Miss Lydia. I know her as Miss Lydia, as I'd spent a significant amount of time being a guest artist with Ballethnic Dance Company. A few times I guested with them, but my very, very first time, Miss Lydia was there really heavily, and I got to take class from her, company class on stage during Tech Week, Theater Week, Show Week. And also I was able to get some coaching from her while I was working on a specific role. And you know, the moment that stands out most to me is when we were all on stage preparing for a show. She was giving us ballet, and I remember her stopping us at tendus. And I remember her just becoming so emotional about the tendus, but it was not just the tendus. She also mixed in how Mr. Mitchell as many people lovingly remember him as, was very intentional when it came to dance. And if I could put my own summation on it, it is this: that we are not to train and dance in a superficial manner. Tendu is not simply just a tendu. Yes, a tendu to stretch, but you must put that intentionality even into those, quote, rudimentary steps. 1 and 2 and this front, 3, good, and 4 and 5. If you catch the and, you'll be on time. 7 and 8 and 1, 2, 3 and 4, plie, 5 and 6 and 7 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and so she became a bit emotional, and she was like, no, you have to reach, you really have to stretch your tendu. Like, it's not just, put your leg out. And I can remember in that moment being like, wow, this work, ballet, Dance State of Harlem, Abarca-Mitchell, what she was to Dance State of Harlem, okay, because Lydia Abarca-Mitchell was Abarca-Mitchell's very first muse, Dance State of Harlem's very first ballet star. And so hindsight is most certainly 2020. I understand now more why Miss Lydia was overcome with such emotion while we were in that class. Throughout the process of me choreographing this work, it was really, really easy. It was so smooth. I did not spend a lot of time thinking that it would be anything but. However, I also didn't spend a lot of time like pumping myself up. When I would spend moments in between teaching, just going over my notes, I had a book where I just wrote notes for choreography and whatnot. And I remember going through that. And then at some point throughout the week, I just no longer needed to book the book, and things just began to flow. And so just every piece of creating this work was just completely inspiring to me. And I'm really happy I got to create something and put something out into the world. Thoroughly inspired. I feel extremely optimistic. I feel really, really grateful for the dancers, and I feel overall positive. No. Trying to figure out what costumes. So, we'll get something on.
Time and efficiency within this hour of what show supposed to be out. Yeah. So I'm hoping we have just working. We cannot fit the show to but that's only understand. But yeah.
The dancers, I'm really excited that I got to work with, got to know a bit about the specific dancers that I had for my group. I had Ballet A. They were really fun to work with. It was also a treat to watch them every day put their best foot forward. It was also nice to see dancers being excited about being in the work. And it was also most beautiful to teach them about the Dance State of Harlem, to teach them about who Abarca-Mitchell was and what he created and founded. And I even at one point gave them a homework assignment, especially for my first 5 ladies who began the ballet, and they represent those founding 5 women. ballerinas who began the Dance Theater of Harlem. My thought is that I would love to tour this work in a few different ways. And I think this work in particular is very special. Obviously, it's different from a story ballet. It's different from, you know, your seasonal works, but it is something that is visceral in a different kind of way, because this is largely a part of many people's histories, identities, and it honestly spreads across various dance generations. It's something that we still celebrate today. It's something that is still being recognized, hence the book Swans of Harlem and them touring and doing different book events. And it's something, honestly, that wasn't that long ago. 1969 was not that long ago. And so I'm just really grateful for this work. I'm so glad I got to do it. And I'm going to say many more works to come.